What is up, YouTube? This here is Sachin, um, relatively new on the scene here, so just wanted to introduce myself to you guys out there. Um, and today I want to talk to you guys about a topic that I've been thinking about for 3 weeks now. I've just been thinking about it, not really taking action about it, so it's like, alright, no more thinking, just doing it. So here it goes. I want to talk about different stages of maturization and why I think different people mature in different stages or different phases in life. The first point that I want to talk about is the classic one, the way they were brought up. So the family matters, right? Um, so, for example, one person has been brought up by a family that sort of doesn't really cares all that much or doesn't focus all that much about how the kids are feeling or how they're or what are the things that's going on in their life. I feel for them uh, it's a little bit hard to mature in a way that uh, would benefit them if they were loved a lot, like really pampered and stuff. I think that would also affect their process of maturing in a rational and in a timely way. So, for example, people who have been really, really pampered, like, yeah, boy, oh boy. For a teenager, you buy them everything that they want, like iPhones, the latest laptops, iMacs, and stuff like that. Anything that they ask for is given to them. So, for people who have been raised like that, I think it's going to be a little bit difficult to mature in a timely manner. Or, when I say mature, let's get this figured out. So, when I say mature, it's about seeing things for how they are and uh, what's happening in the world and see it for what it is and not sort of mix it up or put their own spin on it and internalize it in a different way. The way they've been raised also matters a lot because if they're loved less, um, there's a good chance they're going to perceive the world to be one really evil place. Um, and they'll have those sort of trust issues and issues really loving or exposing themselves completely and truly and honestly to others. So the second scenario is where they've been loved too much, right? The kids who have been loved so much, um, anything that they ask for is handed to them right away without any questions. I think even that affects their ability to mature as a sort of a well-rounded person because thus far what's been happening is it's just asked for it and it's been given to them. But in reality, the world isn't that way, right? You'll have to fight for things and in an irrational way. You have to plan for things, fight for it, have processes set up so that you can work towards getting what you want. All right. So the second point about what would affect a person's maturity is the kind of experiences that they have in their life. Uh, in general, from what I've seen and people who I've come across in my life, personal life, I've seen people who get exposed to more experiences like cultural exchanges and stuff like that. People who travel a lot, um, they tend to be a little bit more sensitive and aware of how the world actually works, rather than when comparing to people who are actually not all that well traveled, just alone, haven't had many experiences in life, good ones or bad ones. So you have to have both ones. So for people who lack that kind of experiences in life, so they are stuck within themselves. Um, so that is a little bit hard. You know, you have to be well traveled, um, and you have to experience things in life in order to get a good grasp of actually what is happening and what is uh, and how you are part of this world. So it's just about maturity is also about that realization that you are a piece of the puzzle in this world. Uh, Else, it's just gonna feel if you have noticed, like people who are not all that mature feel like they're an outsider. They believe that and they also act that way. Right. The third point that would sort of hinder a person's maturity is ego. Surprise, surprise. Okay, this is something that I have personally struggled with, right? Massive ego. Um, so this, one of the ways this hinders your maturity or your your process of becoming a much wiser person is by blocking things that you should be learning from things that you see and observe. So when you're this egomaniac sort of guy, what do? Like you think you know everything, um, and you sort of discount other people's opinion and the experiences in general. So you're like, that shit, uh, that person, he's baked that shit. Uh, I could do that better. In fact, you've never even tried that, right? So it's just ego for some reason. It creeps into your ability to grow, and yeah, ego, man. You also can't fully appreciate things. You can't compliment people on their achievements when you are an egomaniac. The fourth point that I have um, for what really affects a person's maturity is the amount of responsibility that they've had to take on um, thus far, right? So, for example, if a person has never had to work for anything and it's everything's been handed to them, like with the example that I gave earlier, that if a child's been sort of given everything that they ask for, is a classic case where that person would have taken on less responsibility in their life. So what happens with that is you actually don't know what it takes to earn things, right? It's always been handed to them. So you sort of discount the actual effort that's involved in getting those things when things are handed to you or them. So yeah. So and on the other hand, when a person had to really strive for everything that I've earned, like every dollar that they have earned, they had to fight for it. Not per se fight, okay, they have had to really earn it. So for them, they actually know what it takes and what real life is. Ooh, the cups. So yeah, on the other hand, when a person who has really had to earn everything that they have in their life really knows what it takes to actually live, earn, and be satisfied, right? So you when you come across a person who's self-made, they have a sense of calmness in them. They have a sense of centeredness, right? They're centered. They know even if the world falls apart, they can build back themselves up again because they've done it once before. On the contrary, when a person who hasn't taken on any responsibility in their life before, for them, everything, if they were to be in a situation where they were not, like most of the situations they're in is uncertain, so what do? They panic the shit out. So, in order to be more mature, you'll have to be willing to take on more responsibilities. You'll have to be open to new experiences. And I know this is a tough one. Like how you're raised and stuff, you really wouldn't be thinking about it as a kid. Like when you're a 5 year old, you won't think, am I being raised in a really good way or a bad way? You can't do that. It's something that you realize later on. But once you do realize, I think you can put in, you can start to sort of work around things. So if you were good, if you have been raised in a uh, loving fashion, but not too loving, but in a way that you've been shown what it takes to actually live in this world, survive. If that's the way you've been raised, kudos to you. But if it's otherwise, if it's either of those extremes, like it's too much love, too much neglect, it's hard to sort of realize that at that point. But once you sort of realize, say in your mid-20s and stuff like that, you can actually start to uh, go out, like seek help or look for things that you can start learning now in order for you to become better in about a year or two from that stage on. So yeah, I just wanted to make a random video of this sort so that I really get started on making these YouTube videos and not just think about them. I know it's not the greatest at this stage, but it's okay. I'm just gonna put out more. Um, yeah, with this, as I keep doing more of this, I know I'll get better at all of this. Better note taking, better delivery. So yes, this is it for today's video. Peace. I'll come back soon for another one.